He's a fourth-generation beef farmer. Matt, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, very well indeed. Were you up in London yesterday?
Yes, I was, and I'm one of the organisers of yesterday's event in London, which saw a mass turnout of farmers across the country, and I cannot be more prouder to be a farmer, to have that support from farmers turning up and driving miles and miles, hours and hours on end to get there yesterday.
Yeah, and it was a great turnout, and it was a great atmosphere. It's a fantastic event, really, apart from anything else. But is it having any effect, I guess, is the major question. I'm told that Keir Starmer has had a conversation, I don't know whether he has or not, with the National Farmers Union. And what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so as far as I'm aware, he had a meeting with Tom, the president of the National Farmers Union, last week. So what I gather and I hear, Tom laid down quite strong wording and a gauntlet to him. I don't think there's been a vast response from Mr. Starmer and his government. I think they're going to try and dig their heels in as much as they can. It will be the biggest mistake that they ever do.
Yeah.
Because you know, we are tough farmers. We roll up our sleeves and get the job done. And by any means, we are not going to give up this fight at all. And we will see this to the very end. And what I would say, there are more farmers than there are politicians in this country. And when you pick on us that feed the nation, that look after the countryside, that's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah. Totally agree. And all the people that listen to this show and watch it are in agreement with you. The country is with you as well. It seems extraordinary to me that this government is so kind of tone deaf. But they don't seem... I mean, we're talking to John Rentoul, who kind of is not a card-carrying Labourite. I mean, he does support Labour. But, you know, he was telling me that, you know, people should live in cities. You know, people shouldn't live in the country. You know, people who work in the farm should pay the same tax as everybody else. There is this kind of metropolitan view of the world, which is so wrong and so kind of misplaced. I mean, I've lived in farming communities. I lived in Wiltshire for a long time. I've lived in Sussex, you know. I've lived in parts of Scotland that are very rural. You know, it's not like London. You can't pretend that it's like London, but the bulk of people in this country live there.
Well, you know, I'll get shot down for saying it, but that is the far woke left, I'm afraid.
No, it is. You won't get shot down on this show for saying it.
And what they fail to forget is they really forget where their food comes from. And if they think wiping out 70% of the family farms in this country, which at the moment we produce 55% of the food in this country, when you wipe out that amount, you are left then being a sole importer of food. And if they think that's the right route to go down, they are very much mistaken, because then we are a country that's left to ransom by other countries that are supplying us with food.
Right.
And, you know, we're here to produce the best food, highest quality, seasonable, and as affordable as we can make it to feed the nation. That's what we've always done. And we're custodians of the land. We look after the countryside. That countryside does not look like it does naturally. It looks after itself because we manage it. We manage it in the right ways, the best of our abilities to look like it does. And if these far woke people think that we should be all gone, well, I'll tell you what, go and starve yourself. Don't eat any food that we grow and deliver to you on your doorsteps and your plate, and see how long you live without food.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I like the phrase far woke. I might have to steal that and use it. But listen, here's the thing as well. I mean, they're talking about sort of, you know, bulldozing over, you know, local people's opposition to planning applications. They're talking about building on green belt. You know, there's something going on here, isn't there, which is not just about putting you guys out of business and charging you more tax. You know, they want to build houses in places where there's no real, you know, appetite for them and where there's no real infrastructure to support them.
Oh, absolutely. And the more keeps coming out the woodwork of these liars, it's so obvious it's a land grab. And basically it's to put all the small family farms out of business, allow all the bankers and investors, Blackbrook, which is their deal that they want to do with them, to come over here, buy as much land as possible, and then it will be houses. You know, they've got a housing policy that never is going to be achieved, never. And where do they want to build it? They want to build it on greenbelt farmland. That's what they want to do. And if it's not houses, Mr. Ed Miliband wants to put solar panels all over it. Well, that doesn't feed people, I'm afraid. And that's the black and white of it.
Yeah,
it doesn't feed people.
Also, if you saw the state of that, the biggest solar panel farm in Britain, up in Anglesey, earlier on this week, which was smashed to pieces by Storm Harrod, or whatever it was called, the most recent one. What was it called? Storm what? Storm Barra. Yeah. Storm Darra. Anyway, smashed to pieces the solar panels. It doesn't work. The point is that you can't, as you say, you can't eat solar panels. But also, will that mean they'll have to take control of the rural fields of our country? They'll have to literally, sort of turn up on your door and repossess the land.
Yep. And farmers, if farmers go out of business and pack up, we're not coming back. We're not going to sit there and take a paycheck off the government just to be a caretaker and not produce anything. That's not what we're about.
Right.
We've been producing food for far too long, and that's in our blood, DNA. That's what we do. That's what we're dear to. We want to pass the farm to the next generation, to keep doing that in the hope that things will get better for our children in the future and grandchildren. But the way this government gone has been complete attack on any private sector, small business, the pensioners, anyone that didn't vote or wasn't a Labour voter. They have gone after. And I'm afraid they have woken a very big giant that they should not have disturbed. And they're not going to win this one.
No, interesting. So what's the next move? Are you going to have another protest soon?
Everyone who keeps asking what the next move is, we're in discussions of organising the next. The pressure is going to be ramped up a lot more. And, I'm not going to reveal what's going to happen because we're keeping that up our sleeve. But I can tell you now, this government will not want to see what's going to come. They will not want that.
Well, listen, Matt, we wish you luck and all the best from Talk here, because we're right with you. Matt Cullen, beef farmer, just outside of Canterbury.